Hey now, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I wanted to do something special for Halloween. I already did Halloween itself, but then I thought, wait, this is unique because obviously there was a Halloween 2, but there was also a remake of Halloween 2, so why not do an original versus remake for Halloween 2, both of them. Let's talk about this. Let's break it down. The directors of these movies. For the 1981 version, it was not directed by John Carpenter. He did write it. He produced it. He was still very much involved. But this movie was directed by Rick Rosenthal, who I think he came in and he took what John Carpenter created and he took from some of the styles of the original movie, but he made it his own. He did his own thing. He made the sequel faster paced, a lot more blood, whether that was in the script or not. He just made the Halloween movie, the Halloween franchise, bloodier and more violent. But when you talk about more bloody and violent, the remake Halloween 2 was directed by Rob Zombie, and obviously that original remake was pretty hardcore, but this takes it up a notch, if that is somehow possible. Now let's talk about Michael Myers, the Shape himself. In the original Halloween 2, he was played by Dick Warlock, who, sure, he's not the same guy who played him in the original movie. Maybe it's the mask. They've never, in the original series, they were never able to replicate that original mask. It was awesome. But this mask, out of the sequel mask, this is probably like the second or third best. Tyler Mane still plays Michael Myers. I think he's the only actor, in fact, to play Michael Myers more than once. The big issue, though, is that I liked him a lot as Michael in the first remake, but this sequel, he doesn't feel as much like Michael Myers. Sure, Rob Zombie was going for something different, but this was too different. You have Michael with a full-grown beard, in a hoodie, walking around in the woods, eating dogs, and it's like, I get it. If the character Michael Myers was in real life and was somebody real who was out there for 2 years before he eventually came back, this would be the way it would probably happen in real life. But do you want to see it? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. Is this what you want to see of Michael Myers? Do we have to present him in a way like this? It's very rare where Tyler Mane is wearing the mask in this movie. He only seemingly wears it when he's going to kill somebody, and then there's even a point where the mask gets ripped, so it's like, why? Let's talk about Laurie Strode, who is once again the main character in both movies. The original, she's once again played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and I will admit, as much as I love the original Halloween 2, Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't get a whole lot to do in this sequel because she's hurt, she's traumatized, she's in the hospital, they drug her up, and so for most of it she's just lying in bed. And so, okay. It's not really towards the end when Michael reaches the hospital and she's running from him that you sort of maybe repeat the same beats of the first movie. So as a character, maybe Laurie in this movie isn't that much better, but you at least get some backstory, and this is the movie where you find out her connection to Michael, and I think that alone makes her a more interesting character. And the remake, she's played by Scout Taylor-Compton, and the first movie I defend Scout Taylor-Compton as Laurie. She's different, she's just a different version of Laurie, but I still like her. This movie, I can't defend her as Laurie. I'm sorry, Scout Taylor-Compton, it's not your fault. You know, you play crazy very well, so I can give you that. It's really the writing that's the problem, because you don't care about Laurie at all in this movie. You don't. She's whining and complaining, maybe some of it for good reason, but you also want to see Laurie as a character overcome what she's been through. get stronger and be able to get out of this. And this isn't what Laurie's doing. And also, Rob Zombie clearly was taking the idea from Halloween 4, where Jamie sort of became crazy due to her family blood connection to Michael. He does that with Laurie here. It's an idea that you still could have done. It's almost what the whole movie is about. So I can't sympathize with her. All of the weird visions that she's having is just fucking weird. It's weird. Dr. Loomis in the original is Donald Pleasence. And I think even in this movie, more so than the original, it's what he says about Michael Myers being the epitome of evil. He's not just a man. He's not just somebody that you can stop with bullets like he tried to do. And he got up and walked away. Like, I love everything about Loomis in this film. The remake, he is played by Malcolm McDowell. And this is a very different Loomis from the 2007 remake, where this one has become an asshole. He's become a dick. He wrote this book based on his experiences with Michael and the experience of Michael coming back to try to kill his sister. And he's making money off of it. He's making a fortune off of it. And he has this assistant that he treats like shit. And he's doing these interviews in front of the Myers house and just doing these things that just make him deplorable. And I know some people are like, what the fuck? Why did Rob Zombie do that to Dr. Loomis, to a character like that? A part of me feels that way, but another part of me also likes to see Malcolm McDowell be a dick because he's so into it and he's so good at it. Let's talk about Annie, because, okay, in the original Halloween 2, there's nothing much to Annie because she died. All you see of her, we see her dead body being gurneyed out, and her father, the sheriff, sees her and he breaks down. And that's really it. In the remake, Annie is played by Danielle Harris. And this Annie did survive her brutal attack in the first movie. And sure, in that first film, she was kind of a slut and just your typical girl who was probably going to get killed. But the fact that she survived that, you see her now, and she's everything that you want Laurie Strode to be. You know, she's somebody who's been through a traumatic experience. She's been through hell. Her face still has the scars to prove it, but she's trying. She's trying to move past it. When her and Laurie are arguing, Laurie's just continuously getting in her face. Annie doesn't back down. And she gives Laurie what she deserves. She tells her, like, well, look at me. This happened to me too, and you don't see me crying about it. Speaking of that, Sheriff Brackett, her father, in the original is played by Charles Cyphers. And he too is barely in this movie. As soon as he sees his dead daughter, he's emotional, he's a wreck, and he leaves. And a new guy comes in, I think it's the deputy, or he comes in and starts working with Loomis to track down Michael. And realistically, that's probably how it would go, but we never did get that sequel where the sheriff himself vowed for revenge, wanted revenge against Michael. And the Halloween 2 remake, he is played by Brad Dourif, and I really like Brad Dourif's version of Sheriff Brackett. I mean, Brad Dourif obviously is a great actor, and he is taking care of Laurie to damage people. And then when Michael resurfaces, it's his mission to stop Michael before he gets to these two girls once again, and he becomes our Loomis. He becomes the guy that we're rooting for to stop Michael. But let's talk about the kills. In the 1981 movie, we see at the very beginning this random pretty girl gets killed in her house, which I always thought sucked because it seemed like Michael, at least, sure, he killed some people that didn't deserve it, but they were connected to Laurie in some way, her friends and whatnot. This girl was completely random, and she's like watching on the news, all this stuff happening, and she's freaked out. And then Michael just kills her. Why? Because the producers thought that there should be more death in the movie. So let's just throw this scene in here. At the hospital, we see Michael drowning one of the nurses in boiling water Sure, this nurse was naked, and she was hooking up with one of the guys, and she was hot. And then the memorable scene where in the hallway, he comes up behind the one nurse, stabs her, and then raises her up with the knife in her. Very creepy scene for Laurie especially to see. Laurie's like half drugged, and she doesn't know if it's real or not. And the remake, we have my favorite part of this movie. One of the only things that makes me want to watch this film is like the first 15-20 minutes, where you see Laurie in the hospital, completely, I guess, an homage to the original Halloween 2, where Michael comes after Laurie in the hospital, and Laurie is trying to get away. Everybody's dead. Virtually everybody's dead. We see Michael kill one of the nurses and stabs her viciously to death. I love it. I love it. It's great. Great way to open the movie until you find out it's a fucking dream. And then it's like, well, we kind of go downhill from here. There's a scene where he attacks these people at some strip joint or something, and he kills the owner, kills one of the girls, and then one of the other guys, he like stomps his face in. The Annie character, Danielle Harris, does finally get it in this movie. Michael gets her, and it's a hard death to watch. Not just because it's Danielle Harris, or because of how much I like the Annie character, but that's a lot of it. But more so because you don't actually see her death. You see Michael go to her, she freaks out, and then you see her try to run from him, and then all you hear are her screams, and Michael beating her, knocking stuff over. We see flashes of it, and then we see Laurie coming home and seeing the aftermath of it, finding Annie's body in the bathroom, completely nude, blood everywhere. It's like, you just, fuck. But before I announce the winner, let's talk about the endings of each movie. In the original Halloween 2, Loomis tracks down Michael. Michael is just like full force, breaking through glass, like he's not stopping before he gets to his sister. And he even gets shot in both of his eyes, blood's coming out of the mask. Loomis blows them up. Laurie makes it out. Loomis blows them up, almost like, I created you, or I'm responsible for you. I'm going to end you. And the room's in flames. Then Michael comes out of the flames, on fire, still coming after Laurie. She's freaking out. And then he finally collapses. And Laurie watches him burn to death. Like, that's a conclusion. Even though Michael came back by popular demand, that was a great conclusion. In the remake, we see that Loomis once again tracks them down because now he feels bad for everything that's going on. Laurie's by now completely crazy. The visions of the mom, visions of little Michael, it's all gotten to her. Michael then kills Loomis, it looks like, and all of the cops surrounding this place shoot Michael dead. And then Laurie emerges out of the house, and then she gets shot. Now, I always thought that they killed her. They killed Laurie. But then they flash to the hallway where she's in the white room, and she's crazy. She sees the white horse again, and she smiles. So it's like, I don't know if she's dead, or if she did survive getting shot, and this is where she is, in a mental hospital. Either way, it's a depressing fucking ending. Obviously, my verdict is to the original, because this is not only my favorite Halloween movie, but this Halloween 2 isn't that great. I used to defend it more, but over time it's just like, some stuff I might think is interesting, but overall it's like, Rob Zombie, what the fuck did you do? This one, you can't beat this Halloween 2. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what's your favorite Halloween 2? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!